I've now decided to go on my own, just with one business partner, and we're looking at basically new technology, interaction, augmented reality, gesture-based interfaces where doing this would have an effect on a piece of video, eye tracking, so the camera would track my eyes as I move around the shop, and we're looking at all those sort of areas. But in addition to that, I'm doing consultancy still for the general market. And my main customer at the moment does large-scale hologram projection, and that's taking me around the world, helping them with integration projects. The most challenging project was only a few years ago, and that was a project for the Natural History Museum, which took something about 2 years from beginning to end. And we were actually engaged really early on by the museum, and by complete coincidence, it was a project being done by BBC Research Department as well. And so I was working with some of my old colleagues, and it was an augmented reality environment. It was a theatre that sat 85 to 90 people, where each person had their own individual augmented reality experience. But the theatre had to be a traditional lecture theatre. It also had to be a totally automated multimedia presentation area, and it had 5 high-definition screens, and every single piece of equipment was automated. So it had to work as an automated 5-camera studio. It had to work as a multimedia environment where you just sat down and watched films, and it had to work as an augmented reality where each user had a handheld screen where they got another layer that they could see when they were looking into the room, and that could be a dinosaur walking around the room, or a prehistoric man appeared to be walking around the stage in the room. When they held their screen up, they looked through the screen like looking through a window, but there'd be another layer on that screen. Wow, and the room also had to be used as a traditional high-definition studio, and in fact it was used by the BBC to record a pre-G8 summit at the time with Gordon Brown, who was still in power at the time. And the BBC just literally connected their equipment to the output of the studio and used the studio, which was a great compliment.
What would you say is the most impressive bit of technology that you've been using or you've come across?
The most impressive bit of technology? Well, yes, I've used the iPad, and there's no doubt it's absolutely gorgeous, especially the new iPad with the high-definition screen, but it's fit for purpose. It's lovely as something you use on the train to read the newspaper. It's lovely for something you might have in the evening where you want to watch a bit of online television or read the news. But as regards using it as an AV controller, if you drop it once or twice, it's not going to survive. So there are similar products that do the same function that are much more robust, and I think we're going to increasingly see that market blur. In terms of really good technology, that's an interesting question. The company I'm working for does some amazing stuff with holograms, and it's absolutely bowling over the audiences that are seeing it. I think the one that most people know well, it was a rap star called Tupac, who's no longer alive, and they recreated an avatar of Tupac. It was projected on stage as a hologram, and the audience all thought it was a live performance. And that was done with James Cameron of Avatar.
So, industry's got further to go, everything's green in the garden?
There's a lot of challenges. Products are getting cheaper and cheaper, and as the products get cheaper, the people that make money out of it have to sell more to make money. The margins are quite low because of internet shopping, and so the systems integrator has got quite a challenge on where they make margin, and really the margin's got to come from professional services. People are much more prepared to pay for expertise, and therefore we've got to sell our expertise and not equipment.